everybody, welcome to the back corner of my shed, and the only place I feel safe trying to do this where I know I can keep it away from the prying fingers of 2-year-olds. This is really the first time I have tried to seriously germinate any kind of seed before putting it in the ground. Last year my wife scattered some seed around in a tray of dirt in order to germinate some seeds before we put it outside. But it was just a way to try to get started a little early. It wasn't really something that we scheduled on purpose. We also did experiment with hydroponics and used a system similar to this, but I want to stress to you something that MHP Gardener mentioned on his channel. You have to have good lighting. This is exactly the equipment that MHP Gardener is talking about on his channel. This is a shop light that you can buy from a local hardware store. It ran about $65 with just the standard fluorescent lights that you can buy 2 aisles over. And it's not a specific fluorescent light that you would buy at any nursery. It's just a regular old fluorescent light. So let's check in and see how things are doing. I don't have much experience with this, so I might say some of these things wrong, but I believe these are called 1022 trays with the greenhouse top. They're nothing particularly special, and if you buy them, especially in any sort of bulk, you can get them very, very inexpensively. So since this part of the product or process is going to be very inexpensive, don't go cheap on the lighting. When we tried this with hydroponics, we had an old fish tank light that only had one lamp in it, and it caused long, leggy plants, the majority of which did end up producing good lettuces, but they were slow and we had loss. We believe that if we had this kind of lighting system during our hydroponic trials, that we would have had much better success and much quicker production. So let me show you what's going on here. We have many different varieties. My wife loves eating artichokes. I love being out of the house when she cooks them. Here we have 2 rows going from front to back, 2 rows of the green globe artichoke, and then here we have 2 rows of the violetta artichoke. So you can see we've already got 2 germinating here, and what I really just want to point out to you is you can see how these seed leaves, I can never pronounce what they're truly called very well, but your seed leaves here, very close to the soil. And that's because of having the light just as close to this as the lid will allow us to be. So that's what you're looking for. Over here there are 3 6-packs. One with echinacea or purple coneflower, one with English lavender, and then one with a medicinal plant called toothache. And if you've never experienced toothache, it's something special. It is what's going to allow us to avoid going to the pharmacy for numbing medicine anytime you have a tooth problem. And right now, they are the only ones in this location that are germinating, but again, want to point out that they're not getting leggy. They're spreading out their seed leaves right there on top of the soil because of the good lighting. It provides a numbing effect when you take one of the leaves off, and you can either chew it and it's okay to swallow, or you can just rub it on an area, and it's a lot like Orajel or Ambisol or any of those other medicines you might be familiar with for applying to your gums or teeth when you have a sore. So, neat little medicinal plant. Very excited that it's coming up. This entire tray is filled with those biodegradable pots, so that we'll simply be able to break them off from the group and then plant them directly into the soil. I think it's easy to see that right now there's only one thing germinating, and that's pretty much expected. That is the loofah. These are the plants that end up making these squash or cucubit looking fruits that dry out and turn into a natural sponge that you can use in the shower, your loofah sponge for your shower. So we collected these from a seed saver exchange at a conference attended a couple months ago. So Planted 4. Looks like I've currently got 3 coming up. We'll probably plant these on the same trellis that we're planting the grapes on. Behind it is fuzzy trailing bean, and that is a local wild bean that is edible but almost laughable because it produces such a small bean. But I'm interested in propagating it and preserving it on the property as a natural nitrogen fixator, so I have 6 pots planted for that. The rest of this entire box is planted in peppers, and I personally have no interest whatsoever in peppers. This is all for my oldest son. He is the one of the family, the only one, who every time he goes through a bottle of hot sauce wants to go to the store and try another brand that he's never tried before, constantly in search of the next hottest hot sauce. And things that I wouldn't touch with a 10-foot pole, he says is weak, and he'll just drink it out of the bottle to prove a point. So since he has no taste buds, we're going to give that another shot. Now, some of these, like lunchbox pepper, are specifically bred to be able to just pop them in your mouth and eat them. Others, you have to be certifiably insane in order to do that with. Let me point one out to you. The back 3 pots over here are planted in the Carolina Reaper pepper, which is, according to the Guinness Book of World Records, the hottest pepper on the planet, rating in at an average of 2 million Scoville heat units. We also have some others like the Ghost or Butte pepper and the red habanero, and things that are a little more commonplace. Also have some that are just for looks, the Bolivian rainbow pepper, and some others. Not everything in here is hot. The only peppers that are in here that I will probably have anything to do with are these 2 rows with the California Wonder bell pepper and the golden California Wonder bell pepper. I don't mind preparing a meal with those. Now, it is already time in our area to plant for summer crops. So this isn't something that we were doing this year to try to get a jump on the game. Anytime these are ready, I can put them outside. So I'm not worried about the fact that the loofah is already getting so tall and will very quickly outgrow this little greenhouse. I can transplant it where I want to put it at any time. I'm sure it'll transplant better if I can keep it in here until it gets some true leaves on it, and that is my intention. However, if I can't, then I can rearrange some things and get it set up in a way so that they can have some more growing space as well. The rest of these may take a long time to germinate, especially like that Carolina Reaper. They report that while it may be rated as the world's hottest, the germination rates are not all that consistent, and they reported that some can take several months to germinate. So we'll just have to sit back and watch. That's one reason this is in the back of a corner in the shed, is it can be left alone. This light has been on 24/7 up until today, but we're going to put a timer on this so that during the day the light comes on and at night it goes off. And by putting it on a timer, I know that any of my life events coming up aren't going to interfere with me forgetting to turn the light on or forgetting to turn it off and causing any kind of stress to the plants that way. So thank you all for following along and being part of our first real attempt to sow seeds indoors in some sort of controlled and prescribed method. We hope you continue watching. Please share and rate the video. And as always, thank you for watching. See you next time.